Okay. We're live!
We are here. It is happening.
All right, everybody. Welcome to our podcast, The Review Sleuths. My name is Emily.
My name is Sheyenne.
And we are live from the big P&W.
Yes, Washington State, everybody.
It's cloudy with a chance of meatballs outside.
It is. Actually, it was a pretty nice day today.
Oh, it was. It was very sunny. Yes.
Yep. I have my windows down driving here.
Ooh.
It was nice.
Like you're the main character.
I am.
Okay, well, this is our first episode ever.
Yes.
Sheyenne, would you like to tell the people about what we're going to do here?
Well, I think we are just going to be reviewing some shows. We have a very great lineup, but we're going to start with a good old show. I'm very nervous, so I'm sorry.
Hey, me too, sis. Me too.
We're going to start with a show called Inventing Anna, which has gotten a lot of popularity recently. I've seen it about the TikTok, and you know anything on the TikTok is popping off.
Yes,
right?
The kids love it. The kids love it.
They do. So, we're just going to be talking about some shows, maybe do some movies here and there, maybe some murder mysteries. You never know with us. It may go out in left field.
That's why we call ourselves the Sleuths, because we could be sleuthing anything. You know what I mean?
It's very true. It's very true. All right.
So I guess first we're just going to kind of break down what happens. So with the shows, we're going to go episode by episode. So for Inventing Anna, it looks like for season 1, there are 9 episodes in total, kind of about an hour each. So I guess we're going to kind of break down what goes on in the episode and kind of talk about it and then go on from there and see what our thoughts are.
I think it sounds like a great plan.
All right. So
would you love to lead us away with a summary?
I will do my best. Okay. So I do want to talk about the opening scene because I really liked it. It starts with like those magazine prints and the guy is like, the working guy, and what is it? A Lizzo song's playing or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a good song. It's like, okay, it just sets the tone.
It does set the tone.
That this is going to be an awesome show. And I as soon as that music started playing, I was like, oh my God, Cheyenne's going to love this. I bet it has some nice music.
I know. I remember you texted me that, and I immediately, when I started watching, I was like, oh, I can get down with the soundtrack for this show. And I do feel like it reflects Anna's personality because she's just that bitch.
Yeah.
She's driving around in her car listening to some bangers.
Yeah, she seems like the type.
Not when she's in prison, but maybe before.
Maybe in her in-between. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so in that scene kind of starts it out. I guess that's kind of after she gets caught. Basically, that's where the story starts. They're kind of in a courtroom. And, she's caught. Trial hasn't happened yet. But her lawyer is kind of arguing with the judge about if there's going to be a bail or not. And the judge does not believe that Anna will come back to court. She doesn't think that if they give her an opportunity to be out for a little bit, that she'll be the right person and show back up. So, and I think it's fair to say, kind of doing some research about the real Anna Delvey, it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think she would be the type of person to show up. I think she would have fled, and we'll get onto that later. Cheyenne has a lot of facts for us about the real Anna Delvey.
I do.
And then from that scene, it kind of goes to a journalist, Vivian Kent. So it's her point of view there, and she's kind of excited about this case because she heard about Anna and she really want to write a story about Anna and kind of what she has done, because her criminal activity is just so astonishing and bizarre for somebody so young. I think they said she was 26.
Yeah, super young.
Yeah, to have accomplished all of these crazy scams, like scamming banks and like the New York socialites, and it's crazy to think. Like, I don't know, I didn't even think like that whole Upper East Side of New York thing was actually like a thing you could scam.
Right.
Like it.
I mean, there's some smart people that she scammed.
Yeah, and she's a powerful woman, and at the end of the day, she got her money for sure.
She also paid for it, but We'll get into that as well.
That's true.
Yep.
Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Okay, well, anyways, journalist Vivian Kent. Sorry, we get sidetracked a lot here. You'll learn. But
Very
Vivian
true.
Kent, she wants to write a story about Anna, and she kind of pitches the idea to her boss, and they don't let her do it because there's this kind of supervisor, I would say, Paul, who assigns her stories.
Not a fan.
I don't like him at all. He just
No.
seems like an ass because he wants her to write this piece about women's rights or the Me Too.
Me Too on Wall Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Me Too. Like, and later in the episode, she kind of explains that, she doesn't want to write it because they're using the women's like stories for clickbait. And I respected that. I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that.
I thought that was a good point of view.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that as well.
Of course. But so Vivian doesn't want to write this story for the Wall Street. She wants to write a story about Anna Delvey being caught, for all of these crimes because it's such a crazy, insane story and nobody's really talking about it yet, except for the Post. But apparently nobody reads the Post in New York, so they want to write about it. I don't even remember what news or company she works for. I'm kind of bad.
I don't either. I think
they're pretty
it's just like supposed to be some big company because the real journalist that wrote the article that her character is based on is it's a completely different name. So like in the beginning of the show, they say this story is based on true events except for those which are completely made up. So I'm not sure how much of Vivian's story is supposed to coincide with the real article writer. Her name is Jessica Pressler. I did not read the article, but I did learn that much. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think Vivian is just supposed to kind of represent kind of that journalist storyline.
Oh, interesting. I was wondering that too. I was going to ask you about that because of her. I feel like Vivian has a very strong independent storyline of her own, and I was going to look into see if that was actually the case for the journalists on the who ventured into it. But now that you say that makes sense.
I would like to learn more about her as well. I didn't get that far, but that's definitely something we can dive into.
Of course. Okay. Well, so. From that point in the episode, she's kind of upset. Her boss isn't letting her do the story, so she's going to do it anyways on her own time. She doesn't care. She is an independent
She
woman.
gives no fucks.
She's a badass. I really like Vivian. I like her character a lot. And so she tries to talk to Anna's lawyer to get an interview. He doesn't want to give her one. So she writes Anna a letter herself and sucks up to her a little bit, calls her brilliant, I think, and amazing. And then Anna calls her and wants to meet with her, not for an interview officially yet. She's not given permission by Anna for that, but just to talk on background. So Anna agrees to see her in person, and during the first visit, Anna believes she did not do anything wrong or commit any crimes. And she kind of cries a little bit, which I thought was so crazy because she doesn't believe anything that she has done is a crime, but she's so proud of herself too, but she's not willing to really admit much of anything. But
yeah,
I don't know, it's so strange, and I think it's very similar to the real life.
From that scene, the note that I wrote was Anna is a manipulator because that is what she is.
Toxic tips with Cheyenne.
Toxic tips. I like that.
Actually, I just saw that. I stole that from, I guess, Tana Mojo started a new podcast called Tana's Toxic Tips. So I don't think we should use that.
We can make our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just want to give credit so we're not...
plagiarizing out here.
And so Anna's manipulator. She's crying. She's fake crying. You can kind of tell. And from that from that conversation, Vivian doesn't get hardly any information about who Anna is. She doesn't have any sources or any people she can talk to, and Anna doesn't want to give her anybody. So she's trying to find sources and friends or family members of Anna to like kind of corroborate her story. And she's having a hard time doing it. She can't find anyone at first, which is very surprising. And then during this time, it kind of goes back to the lawyer, and it looks like they're offered a plea deal, and the lawyer doesn't really want to take it to Anna because he doesn't know if it's worth it or not. He doesn't want to give in so easily. The lawyer character, he kind of feels insecure to his wife a little bit because
he has his own issues too.
Yeah, and you feel kind of bad for him because I feel like us on the outside, we're like, there's no way she's winning this trial.
Right.
But this guy, he really feels like, he deserves a win.
Right. And well, it sounds like he has kind of a history of taking on kind of smaller cases or like cases nobody really wants. So I think he's trying to like prove himself like that he's a capable attorney too, since his wife is big shot. It sounds like she works like for her dad's firm, so it's like a family business, and so that sounds very intimidating for a man.
Yeah. And I love that about the show because I feel like it is just showing men being uncomfortable, or not men being uncomfortable, but like kind of normalizing that men can be in that position too. Like, I don't know, it's just, and we can talk about that later when we get to like the pregnancy stuff with Vivian, because Vivian's pregnant, by the way. I forgot to mention.
That's a pretty big plot point we left out there.
It's not a big spoiler. It kind of talks about it, I think, in the first scene that she's pregnant.
Yeah. So this is like established pretty early on.
So they get offered a plea deal, and the lawyer, he's scared to tell Anna, but of course he does anyway because he knows it's against the law if he doesn't. And then on the other side of things, the Vivian's boss finds out she's kind of working on Anna's story. She's kind of in the hallway, and one of her assistants or whoever that works there brings her like a phone message from Anna, and her boss is standing in the elevator like a creepo listening.
I liked that scene because that's totally something that would happen in like the real workplace. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
especially with a creep like Paul.
Nobody likes a Paul.
No, don't be a Paul.
Don't be a Paul.
Don't be a Paul.
No. It's going to be our saying. Don't be a Paul.
I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise us. You never know. But episode 1, not looking good for you, Paul.
It's not. And so Paul kind of takes it to his boss, and they're arguing in his office. I think his name John.
I forgot his name. I think John sounds good.
John. We'll call him John. If it's not John, he's John now. So Paul takes it to John, and Paul, Vivian, and John are kind of hashing it out in his office. And Vivian is kind of speaking her mind about why she doesn't want to write the Me Too story for Wall Street, and she wants to write about Anna Delvey. And John asks Paul to leave the room, and it's kind of surprising because,
John was a little sassy there.
He was. We love a sassy John.
Yes.
You
know what else I noticed in this scene?
What?
His chair looks really comfy.
Oh, does it?
It does.
I didn't even pay attention.
I wrote that down because it struck me. I was like, wow, that is a nice chair. Like, when he sat down in it, you could tell it had that lumbar support. I'm sorry. I'm going off on a tangent about chairs, but...
Oh, no, it's okay. You can tell that Cheyenne sits in a chair all day.
I do.
For work.
I sit in a chair all day long. As I am doing now.
It's okay. It's important to have a comfy chair.
It is, especially when you work in an office. Absolutely.
We'll try to leave that chair link in the description if we find it, guys.
Yeah, I'll try to do some deep diving on the chair.
All right, and so basically John gives Vivian a green light to do the story for Anna because she makes such a convincing argument that he wants to give her a chance, but he says she only has 2 weeks. And I think that he only gives in because Vivian kind of makes it seem like she already has an interview or she already had an interview with Anna, but in reality, she's just been talking to Anna on background, so she hasn't had an official interview. So we're kind of worried.
Vivian cuts some corners to get what she wants.
Just a little bit, just a little
Tell
snip.
some fibs.
So I'm a little worried that Vivian's not going to pull through, and you think there's no hope, right? So Vivian's kind of scared at this point, but and she's doing a little research. Her friends or her coworkers back in the corner are kind of helping her go through things and kind of see if she's missed any clues or anything that can lead her to somebody to talk to about Anna. And they find that there was one hotel that did not press charges for her, like her scamming them of money. Out of multiple hotels, there was only one that didn't, that she stayed at for a few months. And so Vivian goes to visit this hotel, and she speaks with one of the workers there, and she gets to go inside of the room Anna stayed in, and she kind of asks a little bit of questions to this girl, and we don't really know her name yet, but the girl doesn't...
Her name is Neff.
Neff?
Yes. I read an article about her.
We do.
That's how I know.
Thank you, Neff. But I like her character. She seems, I don't know, she seems pretty down to earth and like a really loyal friend. Like Cheyenne.
Oh, you're so sweet.
But she talks to her, and this Neff doesn't appear to know any information, and so it seems kind of like a dead end at first. And so Vivian just keeps going. She goes to Instagram and sees all of these people that Anna has had pictures with on her account and who's tagged. And so she gets a lot of interviews with these people. And during this time, every person that Vivian interviews, they all have a different story about who Anna Delvey is. They all have a different, way that she spoke. They all know a different way that she dressed. They all know a different background to her family and where her money came from. And so it's like she was pretending to be multiple different people, not just one person in total. And that's the craziest part of all, in my opinion, because that's just a lot of work. That's a 9 to 5 right there. And on top of, a 5 to 9, like she's around the clock working her ass off to fool all of these people. It's crazy. And then, so let's see here. She is talking to all these people, and then Anna ends up taking that plea deal that was offered to the lawyer. So Vivian's really upset. She doesn't think that she's going to get an interview now without the case going to trial. And then it goes to Vivian finding out the gender of her baby. And I just want to talk about this. I don't know how important it is to the story, but Vivian's like upset that she's taking this plea deal and she's finding out the gender of her baby. And then she finds out the gender and she is crying. She is frustrated. She is so upset.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend or fiance or husband, we don't really know yet. I don't know if...
Yeah, I don't think they really specified. I think, are they married? I'm not sure.
I didn't see a ring.
They're having a baby.
Yeah.
We know that much.
They're that committed.
We are the sleuths here. But do it together.
That is his specimen and that woman.
That is a sentence right there.
She has carried his seed.
Okay, Dwight Schrute. Okay.
I love how you got that. Okay. And then she's explaining why she's upset to her man. She is just so worried. I guess that she thought she would have her career fixed. She thought she would have her career back on track before she had a kid. And that her career means something so much to her that it makes her eyes light up. And she, like, it is her purpose. And she loves her career. And she doesn't want this child to ruin it or get in the way of it. And it kind of leads to this secret, I guess, that she has some history. She has some past that is swept under the rug.
Something happened. What? We don't know.
I have no clue because it keeps referring to like how she can't leave her job because nobody else will hire her. And I don't know.
We know there's a child involved.
Yeah.
Like it from some story. But then she also in the scene where she is talking to John, he says when she says that Paul moved her out to Scriberia, which is where she calls her corner of the office that gets no sunlight, which honestly I might steal that for where I sit at work. But when she's talking to him about that, he's like, well, maybe Paul is just being cautious, giving the history. And she's like, no, nothing happened. That was Paul. So there's something weird that's gone on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's connected to that situation, but it kind of seems like it to me.
Yeah. And then she was like, you owe me one, or you owe me this one.
Yeah, she did say that.
What does that mean? Because
yeah, there's definitely some like misconduct, or I don't know.
Yeah, definitely something. I wonder if it's like, is it okay to make my guess?
Of course.
Okay. And we're on episode 1, so we don't know if this is what happened or not. But I'm thinking maybe there was a miscommunication, maybe a flirtation or like a nice communication towards Paul. Paul thought it was flirtation. Maybe Paul came onto her, and somebody saw, and the company is making sure she doesn't say anything to ensure their like history is kept protected or whatever, or the what's it called? Her reputation. I was about to say that Taylor Swift album. What's it called? Their reputation is safe, but whoever saw them is somebody who put this stuff on the internet. So maybe they're thinking that she was having an affair or something similar to that. Because I don't know why she would say nobody else would hire her if it wasn't her fault, or if any. But then there's a child. Oh, I forgot about that.
So I was thinking about that too, that it could have been something like happened between her and Paul. But I think it's all connected to this story that she did about this kid. I don't know. I think she did something wrong in the story. Like, I think she like broke some ethical rules or something like that. And I think Paul was somehow involved. Maybe we'll find out later that he was like, he had a hand to play in what happened. But maybe only she is like taking the brunt of the punishment. I don't know. But that was kind of my guess.
That's a way better theory than mine.
I don't know. That's just because I don't really see her and Paul having any kind of flirtation. I don't know. I just don't see any chemistry there.
Yeah.
But I do think he probably screwed her over, and he probably doesn't like her because he's probably threatened by her. Because that's who Paul is. He's a little man, not physically, but spiritually.
He is small. Yes.
Watch him turn out to be the hero of the series.
I won't accept it.
Our words.
I'll think it's a cover-up.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay. Sorry for that side tangent, but there's just this big secret, and we just don't know what it is, but you can tell there's something that Vivian's keeping a secret about her past, because even Anna mentions it when she sees her.
Well, Anna doesn't mention it, but she leads Vivian. She does know about it because she leads Vivian. This is how much of a mastermind she is, because she knows if she says, oh, I Googled you, she knows that Vivian's going to believe that she's talking about this horrible thing that happened, because obviously Vivian has some phobia with Google searches these days, because apparently there's some bad stuff about there for her. But that's Anna's way of getting Vivian to basically confess to what happened without her even having to ask her. And I thought that was a pretty good show of her master manipulation tactics.
Wow. You are a genius. She's in college, everyone. I'm not. You can tell.
I think I just have a lot of time on my hands to think about these things.
Really?
But but yeah, did we get to the end of the episode?
Almost there. Sorry. That's kind of where my notes stop, but I think I can freehand the rest. So let me see here. So she finds out the gender of her baby, and then she's kind of just she is very down. She's very, she's down in it. She's down bad. I don't know if I'm using that right. But she's just upset because Anna's taking this plea. So she knows she's not going to get this interview. But she's trying to figure out what happened. She's still trying to figure out who Anna Delvey is. So she has this kind of her nursery room where she's putting up all these pictures of Anna, kind of like they do in like crime when they're trying to figure out who murdered somebody. She's like got pictures and she's got tape and markers and she's trying to figure it out. And then she sees this picture of the girl at the hotel she went to visit in a picture with Anna. So then she realizes that girl was lying to her and, that she does know Anna. They were friends. Mm-hmm. And so she goes back to the hotel and then the girl, she sends the picture of her, the girl and Anna to the girl's phone, or she airdrops it, whatever. And I
thought that was kind of funny, like how, I guess airdrop does make sense because I was wondering about that, like how?
Yeah, at first I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, airdrop, okay.
We got the Gen Z over here to give us all the details.
Oh, sure. And then she talks to her for a little bit and says, she was, her friend, but she's loyal to her friend and she's not going to say more than that really, but she did know her because, she stayed there and they got to know each other because she was there so often and that's it. And then Vivian tells her that she is taking a plea, and then the other girl, Neff, she seems upset by this because I guess probably she thinks that Anna is innocent or that Anna has something to, or she's worth more than that than to take this plea because she's a good person because they're friends. So I'm sure she wants to believe the best in Anna. And Neff is kind of defensive and she is asking Vivian, do you think this is going to make me like talk to you or feel sorry for you because it's not blah, 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 blah. And then Vivian kind of just tells her, that she kind of needs this story for herself and for her life. And I think Neff kind of respects that. And then she kind of talks to her a little bit, I think, because the screen goes black or whatever. And then we see Vivian going to a media visit with Anna. She finally gets a media visit.
Yeah, because Anna was very concerned about having that media visit. Anna's all about the VIP.
Yeah, Anna's got some issues. I guess that's why we're here.
Yeah.
But so she goes to see Anna VIP. They get their own room. She gets a recorder. She gets to talk to Anna. She gets driven to the prison, not taken by a bus. And so she told Anna, she knows that Anna wants to be famous, or Anna wants her to be heard, her to be known. And so I think that's kind of where it ends ish. They talk and then it cuts off. I didn't get to finish my notes, so if I'm wrong, Cheyenne, please correct me.
No, I think you're right. I think it ends with Anna laying in her prison cell. She's at Rikers. She's laying in her prison cell, basically just smiling at the ceiling in glee because she's going to become famous, which I guess that's her life goal, which she achieved.
She did. Well, I never heard of her before this show, so I guess Netflix gave it to her.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was a very big story at the time.
Well, why don't you tell us about it, Cheyenne? I know you have some facts over there.
I do. So I read an article about Anna because I just wanted to learn a little bit more about her as a human being. Oh, let me get to my screenshots. I'm so sorry. I was not prepared.
We don't have people for this yet.
So yeah, the article that I read was it was an interview that they did with the girl Neff from the hotel.
Oh.
So she was the one, she kind of, I think when she was talking to Vivian, and basically like telling her to, go shove it because all she cares about is her story. I think she was honestly helping Vivian like get to the place that she needed to be in order to be able to speak to Anna, because Anna's a hard ball. She tells it like it is. One of my favorite things is when she says, "What do you wear?"
Oh my gosh, your accent's on point.
Like that's the type of gal we're dealing with here. So she's not trying to have some reporter come in and butter her up. Like, she wants someone to walk in there and be like, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to give you in return, because Anna's a very transaction-based human being. But I did read this article. It is from The Cut, and it was basically just a long interview with Neff, who really was one of her best friends in real life. And she really did work at the hotel. I forgot the name of the hotel. It's like 10 something. I'm sorry, we're terrible sleuths. Well, I am. But I was very shocked at some of the things that I read, and I honestly think the show did a really good job of portraying Anna as how she is. So she was very flamboyant, especially with her cash. And apparently she's very classist. Like, she would kind of talk down to her friends, like saying, "What are you bitches broke?" Which was something that Neff quoted her saying. And Neff goes on to say, quote, "More like she was some kind of old-fashioned princess who'd been plucked from an ancient European castle and deposited in the modern world. Although, according to Anna, she came from modern-day Germany, and her father ran a business producing solar panels. And despite her unassuming figure, a sort of Sound of Music Fraulein," I don't know what that means. One acquaintance later put it, "Anna quickly established herself as one of 11 Howards." That's the name. There we go. 11 Howard is the hotel. "One of their most generous guests. People would fight to take her packages upstairs," said Neff. "Fight because you knew you were getting $100. Over time, Delvey got more and more comfortable in the hotel, swanning around in her sheer Alexander Wang leggings or occasionally a hotel robe. "She ran that place," said Neff. "You know how Rihanna walks out with wine glasses? That was Anna. And they let her. Bye, Miss Delvey." So she basically, when she stayed at that hotel, she ran it. Like, she had everyone under her control. Apparently she just spent money as if it was nothing. She would pay for all of her friends anytime they would go out, go anywhere. And obviously she was tipping the staff like $100 at a time, multiple times a day. Apparently walking out of the hotel with wine glasses, which honestly, that's a life goal for me. I can't fault her that. We all want to be Rihanna.
She was living her best life.
She was.
At the end of the day.
She definitely was. And let me see what else. I read so much about her, and I was just screenshotting all these things. But basically, Anna herself, she was born in Russia. So she is Russian, but then she moved to Germany pretty early in her childhood, and she grew up in Germany. And when she moved to New York is when she took on the alias Anna Delvey, and I did watch an interview with her where she said that she just completely made that last name up. Whether or not that's true, because I don't know if we can really truly believe anything that comes out of her mouth. But apparently that name is made up. But although I think in the show she says like it's her mother's maiden name.
Yeah, she does say that.
So I don't know, but the real life Anna in one interview that I watched said that she made it up. So that was kind of my background on that. But pretty much as soon as she moved to New York, she started hanging out with all these celebrities. Neff in the article talks about being at a dinner with Macaulay Culkin, which I thought was a very interesting character to...
I don't know who that is.
Home Alone, the little boy. Yes.
Sorry, y'all.
He's a very strange individual these days. I mean, I have nothing against the man, but he's a little odd. Oh. But yeah, so those are some of the celebrities that she was hanging out with, and she also had a glow up. I wrote this down, so I don't remember exactly what pictures I was looking at, but we were talking about that earlier, how everyone that was interviewed by Vivian was basically describing her physical appearance completely different. And then when she is like doing her crime scene investigative work on the wall, she has all these pictures of her that she's like showing her husband. She's like, "That's Anna, that's Anna, that's Anna." Yeah. And that's what the article was making me think of, because they were showing like pictures of her, and she really did like completely change her appearance. And even now, if you watch interviews of her, she looks completely different now. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's amazing. She literally moved to New York and started scamming all these banks. And basically, she was claiming that she had some sort of trust fund that she was about to inherit from her dad back in Germany. And she led everyone to believe that she was this famous German heiress that she was not. And so she would get all these banks from these, or she would get all these loans from these big banks. And they were big loans, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she would basically spend that money, like she would use that money to fund her lavish lifestyle. And Neff also described her as like only wearing like designer clothes like Balenciaga and, you know, all the other brands that I can't afford.
For real.
But yeah, she has a bougie appetite, and
she's hungry.
She is. But it's so crazy to me that she just up and moved to New York, took on this whole different persona, and then befriended celebrities, like actual celebrities were believing that she is this wealthy, rich girl, when really she was just a big scam artist and had a lot of loans that she had no way to pay back. But we'll also dive probably deeper into her actual crimes as we get more into that. But that's just kind of a little bit of background that I read about that I thought was very interesting. I did watch her being interviewed as well. And I think the actress that plays Anna in the show, I should have wrote her name down, but I know that she was in Ozark. She's a very good actress, but her portrayal of her is very accurate. In her interviews, she's just very cold. She's savage. Like, she is just savage. Like, she will tell it to you however she's thinking it. And I did witness that in a lot of her interviews. So that was pretty cool. This is another quote that I screenshotted. So this is after she kind of has been establishing herself in New York, but it says, soon Anna was everywhere too. She managed to be in all the sort of right places, recalled one acquaintance who met Anna in 2015 at a party thrown by a startup mogul in Berlin. She was wearing really fancy clothing, Balenciaga or maybe Alaya, and someone mentioned that she flew in on a private jet. It was unclear where exactly Anna came from. She told people she was from Cologne, but her German wasn't very good, or what the source of her wealth was. But that wasn't unusual. There are so many trust fund kids running around. Everyone is your best friend, and you don't know a thing about anyone. So I guess that's just the society that we live in. We're just like, oh, you got money? I don't care where it came from. You can be my friend.
Yeah, that's kind of what she was saying too, wasn't it? That nobody ever asked her for money, like, to her face. That she was so confused by why everybody wondered that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, who can believe what she says?
Right.
Really. So, I don't know. I know I did listen to one YouTube video. It was like 20 minutes of a 60-minute episode. I don't know if it's the same one that you told me that you had watched. But yeah, she just looked so, like, not even phased at all. Like, she just doesn't realize all of the money that she's taken from all of these people. And I think there was wasn't it that one friend that she had, Rachel?
Yes, and the one she screwed over big time, which I don't think we've been introduced to her yet in the show. But
oh yeah, that's right.
I think that Rachel is kind of like she's another kind of rich kid that I think it's kind of swept up in Anna's excursions. And I also watched an interview of the two of them. It kind of was like going back and forth between the two of the girls. And something that Rachel was also saying is that Anna I forget why, but apparently, because she wasn't a citizen in America, she needed to leave every 3 months. Oh. And instead of going home like most people would do, or, doing something kind of on the down low, she would plan these extravagant trips. And so it was on a trip that really something terrible happened to this poor girl. But I'm sure we'll get into that down the road. But yeah, Anna is just, and in the interview, she showed no remorse for this girl who apparently was her best friend at that time.
Right.
So, yeah, she's definitely has some narcissistic tendencies. Like, she doesn't really feel empathy. She did tell one interviewer that, I think it might have been the 60-minute interview that I watched. She's like, I don't regret going to Rikers. And he's like, I'm sorry, you don't regret it?
No,
is that the one?
Too.
Okay.
I saw that clip too. I was like,
that struck me. I was like, girl.
I think I wrote that down in my phone notes. I didn't bring my phone in here, so she's got the notes. Because she was like, yeah, I don't regret it. And I was like,
I know. Even the interviewer was like, I'm sorry, can we backtrack? Did you say you don't regret it? She was like, no.
I guess she learned a lot from prison, and she was thankful for that.
I mean, I don't think it humbled her, though, is the strange thing. Like, she did not find bizarre. Jesus up in that cell.
Maybe she was like Martha Stewart, or was it Martha Stewart, or I don't know. When I watched Orange is the New Black, there was that celebrity that was in jail, and she had like all the money, so she got like her own room, and
I think that might have been Martha Stewart,
or they were like portraying Martha Stewart or something.
Yeah,
maybe that she had her money, but I saw this one thing too that she had said that her dad or her parents sometimes would send her money. And I was like, what? So they're sending you, so they have to send you money? Where's your money if you have all this money?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, she didn't. She was a fakety fake.
Capital F.
But I guess I can dive into some of my other notes. We kind of went over all the scenes, but I did write down, so Anna is being charged with second-degree larceny, attempted grand larceny, and then theft of services, which is when you like stay in a hotel and then you don't pay for your stay.
I was wondering what that meant. Okay.
I had to look it up. So that's what that means. So basically she was, and I think she did this with like maybe some restaurants, because in the article that I read, she was talking about like she would I think it was Rachel was talking about it. She's like, she would take me out to dinner and spend like $500 on this like meal, and like she would pay for it. She would act like money was no issue. So I believe there may be some like tabs that she didn't pay and things like that.
How confident do you have to be to walk out of a restaurant in New York that you've spent $500, $400,
right,
more, like even more than a couple $100 on dinner? To me, that's insane as it is. But just to be confident enough to get up and walk out of the restaurant like you paid the bill.
Right. It's crazy. But so I did Google grand larceny in the second degree in New York. I'm not really sure what this all means, but it is a felony. And it says that the pilfering exceeds $50,000, but is not more than $1 million in value. So that's her actual charge. And then she's also charged with attempted grand larceny. So, yeah. So I guess she didn't go over $1 million based on that charge.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that works. I'm not a lawyer. But I did think that was pretty interesting. But I know that she did scam like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So maybe she just didn't get that far until she got caught. But yeah, and then theft of services for definitely she skipped out on some hotel bills. Except for the place that she stayed at for a while. Because remember when Vivian is looking, she's like talking to all the hotels. Or like, you know, she was horrible, she didn't pay these bills, but she's only here for a couple days. So if she's gonna stay somewhere longer, that's where she would pay so that she could stay there, which I thought was interesting. And then I did also write down that journalists are cool. I think it would be so fun to like be a journalist in New York and work in like a big skyrise building with these creepy ass men as your boss.
I used to want to be a journalist.
You still could.
You know, I think what it was in high school when, you know, they want you to like choose a career. I was looking into it, but they just didn't make that much money. for the degree that you need.
I mean, nobody does, though.
Right?
Like, nowadays, you need a master's degree to work at Burger King.
Break even.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like that kind of, that we kind of get a peek inside that lifestyle, because I just think that would be so fun to, like, I've always wanted to live in New York.
Oh, yeah.
In the Big Apple.
The big city.
Yes.
Where dreams come
like,
true.
A skyrise building, which I know it's not that glamorous if you actually live there and you're, like, struggling, but I do think it would be very fun. Yeah. Also, there was a lot of unethical shit in this show, and I do wonder how much of it is true. So, for example, they reach a plea bargain because while Anna's attorney is out taking a stroll in the park, the prosecutor, he runs into her, and he's with his child, and it's very awkward.
I forgot to mention that.
She's like, oh, you know, we can, I forget do you remember what the offer is?
She was just saying that, you know, kind of basically implying that he wasn't the best lawyer, or that she...
Oh, yeah, she disses him hard.
Yeah, she's like, have you helped Anna look for a new attorney?
Yeah, she's very condescending.
Like, so I don't think did she mention the exact offer? I don't think she did, but like, I don't know, she just knew it would be a good one, or she said, you know, it's gonna be a
they're
good
basically offering her less time in prison.
Oh, wait,
for her to plead guilty.
I think it was 4 years. I think it was 4 years jail time, and then some like probation period. But I thought that was a good deal, in my opinion. I don't know, because
it is.
She's not. I don't know how she would win.
Right. But yeah, basically that whole interaction between the two attorneys, that's illegal. They're not allowed to do that. And I knew it was illegal when I was watching it, but I did Google. And even his wife says, I think his wife even says, like, you're not supposed to do that, right? Maybe not.
She was saying that he can't keep the plea from Anna because he didn't want to tell her.
Oh, that's right, because he didn't want to tell her. Yeah, some more unethical shit. But Vivian is also pretty unethical too in this episode. For example, she starts taking notes during her first meeting with Anna after she said it was going to be off the record, which I thought was weird. And I thought it was weird that Anna wasn't like, why are you writing this down, bitch?
Yeah, I thought that was weird too, but I don't know. I was also thinking maybe she just wants to have it on hand. Maybe Anna can give her permission after the fact to use it, but
maybe still.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, and that was the scene that Anna was being a manipulator big time, and she kept she basically didn't give Vivian anything, because anytime she spoke was to tell her how much better VIP is on a media visit. And she's like, you see, on a media visit, we could be in our own room.
She was like, do you take the bus?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
She just was not responding at all.
She judges Vivian hardcore. I also thought it was rude when she was like, are you pregnant or just very fat?
I know. I was like, wow, I hope she was confident in the pregnancy perspective of that. But
I know, right? But yeah, so there's some unethical things going on. It's also very unethical that Vivian kind of tries to sway Anna's, she doesn't, well, you mentioned this earlier, she doesn't want her to take the plea deal because then she doesn't have a story, because Anna's going to get shipped off. As soon as she accepts the deal, she's going to get shipped off to somewhere else, and it's going to be hours away. Vivian won't be able to drive there to meet with her. And also, everyone would rather read more about a trial, right? Than just a conviction and some
it's like you want a
little
series.
girl that
you don't want
guilty.
One season. You
exactly.
Want the whole shebang.
Yes, a trial is more drama. There's more press, you know. So Vivian she wants this big ass story. So she's willing to do anything to get it. And it did kind of strike me, because you would think if she like fucked up recently in the past, she wouldn't be doing these unethical things, but
yeah,
I know it's a show.
I think she's
not real life.
She's also trying to get there quickly, to do this quickly before anybody else does, because she knows that Anna Delvey is going to be this huge story.
Right.
And I just don't think a lot of people see it yet, because I don't even know if it mentioned how she even came across the story of Anna, or she saw, maybe did she read the post? Maybe
I think
she
it was
that
the
one
post.
person that read the post.
Right. Yeah, she's the one person that reads it. Yeah, it was the post, and I think it's cool that she was like one of the first people to actually see that it was such a big story. Yeah. And that must be frustrating when you're a writer. Like, for me, when I'm doing schoolwork, I find it so much easier to write about things that I am actually interested in and want to write about versus something that you're being forced to. So I do understand. I think she's very driven by her career, which is really cool. And yeah, that's also why she was so upset when she found out the gender of her child, because now she's like, she's actually real, and there's no going back. Like, I think one of her coworkers said, I loved this scene when he's like, you realize a human being is going to come shooting out of your coochie soon?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That made me laugh.
I did not expect him to say that when he turned around.
I know. I do love her friends out there in Scriberia, though. Yeah. I feel like they're just so nice, and they're all like older, seasoned writers. They were helping her figure stuff out. They were doing research and like reading articles and files, so
I really love that, and I really love how they just really explained how Vivian is so focused on her career, and she doesn't want her motherhood to ruin that. And I think it's pretty taboo to talk about that, because as a woman, you feel like you're trained to be a mother and a homemaker and not to be this career-driven person. And I know it's been done before, and obviously the world is very progressive now, and but still, it was really cool, in my opinion, to see it. I
feel like it's still taboo, like, even though people talk about it, like, people still judge women for, like, being quote-unquote 100%. Selfish, which...
Selfish. Snarky?
Oh. I can be snarky. Did you know that?
Oh, I know you can.
But yeah, I thought her reaction was a little over the top in that scene, but I know it's a show, so everything's, dramatized. But I did relate to her in that aspect, because I'm not trying to have kids until I'm, like, done with school and, like, am established. And I would probably be pretty upset if I found out I was pregnant right now, too, because, I mean, when you're a mom, everything, that takes up your whole life. Like,
you have to put them first.
Exactly.
And stop putting yourself first.
Any woman with a heart would do so for her children, you know?
Of course.
So you want to be that mom who's present and there, but you know, it's okay to also have these ambitious careers and do it all. You can do it all. It's just really
okay to be upset, and I think that's something that makes women feel like they're bad mothers, but absolutely not. You're okay to be upset about losing these parts of your life while gaining this new life, of course, because you're never going to be 100% happy with how the pieces, are and how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, it's okay to be upset, and I think the show just really portrayed that so far that we can see on episode 1 at least.
Right.
I do have a question for you though.
What's that?
Okay. So what was your favorite and least favorite scene of episode 1?
My favorite scene, let me think. My favorite, I really like Anna. I don't identify with her because I think we're very different, but I am aspiring to be as confident and bold as her, but in a nice way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to go out there and, scam a bunch of people, but I would like to be a little less apologetic with my thoughts.
Of course.
I think that would be very liberating, and I love that Anna is like that. I really like the scene, when I think my favorite was probably when Vivian goes to meet with her for the first time. Because I just think Anna's character is just so out there and so just unapologetically herself, and I just really liked their interaction between each other, and watching Vivian try to navigate and how to speak to this strange human being, but because she acts so innocent in this scene, but you know that she's not, so it's just such a weird kind of paradox there. And then my least favorite, it's probably any scene with just Anna's lawyer alone.
Oh no, not Todd.
I'm not a huge fan of Todd. I think
that's his name, right?
I don't know.
Todd or Ted.
I'm going with Todd. You know, I think he's a little whiny. I mean, I agree with what we talked about earlier. I think it is good to show that, you know, men can be intimidated, but I do think he's a little whiny. He's kind of annoying to me. Just being honest here, I don't care for his wife. I find their interactions also, like, just as actors, kind of cheesy. But I get what they're playing at, but yeah, that's probably my least favorite, was like the scenes with him and his wife, because I just thought they were a little boring.
Yeah, understandable.
What about you, ma'am?
Well, I'm gonna start with least favorite. I think, well, you said any scene with her lawyer. I'm thinking any scene with Paul for me, because I think, and the first scene where they just completely discourage her story and put her down, and he just tells her to do the same story. I just do not like that scene at all.
Yeah,
because it is just shitty. And I also wanted to point out, like, every person in the room with, like, the management meeting or whatever was a man, and don't want to be that person, but come on, throw a woman in there, okay?
Yeah, when she has to walk into the room to, like, interrupt them,
yeah,
I felt her pain.
It was so tense.
Yeah,
they were like, we're in a meeting here. And
yeah,
she's like, I can see that.
Oh, you know what really pissed me off? When she's in the office after John kicks Paul out and they kind of talk to each other, when he eventually agrees to let her do the story, he gives her like 2 weeks to get something really good. After she leaves, Paul goes back in there and he's like, what, you're letting her do it? And his response is, it's okay, she'll be on maternity leave soon. Like,
oh, okay, that's my least favorite.
Sir,
Change my mind because I forgot about that.
I'm taking mine back too. That was my least favorite.
Yeah,
so.
That was just awful. Like, I hope she works from home, and I hope
it doesn't matter what she's doing because she's gonna be out of her
she's
hair soon.
Pregnant.
Yeah, she's just a stupid
like
woman.
that guy who, when you were out of work that one time, was like, "Oh, is she pregnant?"
Oh,
Jay. That was so funny. Sheyenne and I used to work together.
J names. It's the J names.
It is J. Yeah. But okay, so that's my least favorite scene. Anything with Paul, he's an ass.
I'm with you on that one.
And my favorite, I do like her scenes with Anna. I would probably say, I think the scene where she figures out that girl was in that picture, figures that out, because I just think she is so, like, just not motivated and just really, she has no hope in that scene. And then she, like, she just stays up all night, and then she gets that one thing. She sees that one person in that one photo, and she has something. And I really like that, because it's like,
that just gave me chills the way you described that. Not gonna lie.
Well, she stayed up all night. It, like, showed the sun going down and sun coming up, and
I mean, staying up all night when you're pregnant, that's hard.
Yeah, she
like,
just felt something about this case.
Yeah,
and she knew she was gonna get to the bottom of it, and she got one thing, and it was not the bottom of it. It was not even halfway. It was like a crack in the door. It was the tip of the
iceberg.
It was, and she was like, I got it. And that's all you need, I think, when you're a journalist, is you need somewhere to start.
To sink your teeth into.
Right. Yeah.
No Twilight puns intended there.
Oh boy.
You're going to learn some things about us. We have work stories. We're Twilight fanatics.
We're Twi-hards for sure.
We are. Maybe we should review those movies.
We should.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
We'll review anything.
Yeah.
So, speaking of, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about Inventing Anna, the first episode.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts that you want to share about that?
No, but I am really excited to continue watching it.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a good show. And I'm really enjoying the series right now that are about, like, real life things. We have some other shows that we've been thinking about. The Dropout. I've seen it already. You have not. But I really want to review this because it was an amazing show. Another one I'm watching right now is The Girl from Plainville, which I think would also be pretty interesting for us to review.
Interesting.
It's about the girl that convinced her boyfriend to commit suicide. They were both high school students, and it's a real story.
Trigger warning.
Just happened a couple years ago. Yes, trigger warning. Sorry. But yeah, it just happened a few years ago. So it's crazy to me that these shows like are producing this content on like stories that like just happened. Like pretty soon there's gonna be a show about Johnny Depp's case, and that's going on right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
like I always wondered if they had to get permissions from like victims and or like family members and stuff like that to put the stories out there, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so, because I feel like I don't know if I'd want like my daughter or my son or my someone's, you know, all that info
I know
out there to the world.
And it's also just like you're portraying someone who, you know, took his own life, and
how do you do
like,
that?
You want to portray them in a good way, but yeah, I mean, there's lots to dive into with you know, all these shows based on true stories, but I'm super into that right now, so I have those shows on the back burner for us.
Oh, I love it.
You know, I'm sure we can review some movies too.
Yes. I was thinking about watching, and I don't know if you have, but I have never watched all of the Star Wars movies.
Me either.
Let alone in chronological order. I think I've seen like bits and pieces of a few of them.
I don't even understand the order, because I know you have to start with like 4 and then 5 and 6 and then you go back to 1. I don't get it.
And maybe that's too nerdy for y'all, or maybe
I don't know if our audience like would be like crossing over from
we're talking about a movie that came out 25 years ago or something.
But you know what? Maybe once our audience grows,
right,
maybe that will be something we could explore. I've also the same with Lord of the Rings. I've never actually sat down and watched all the movies.
Me either. Yeah, because I think like 4 hours a pop or 3 hours a pop.
Yeah, they're long. You gotta invest some time, but we can do it.
It's what we're here for.
What people want to see.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know.
We should make a Twitter and an Insta.
So we should.
DM us. You guys, this is our first episode, so we're still getting the hang of things. Mm-hmm. We're growing our business.
We have high hopes, though.
We may go through some transformations down the line. We are growing individuals with a growing company, so.
Yes, very true. Who knows how long it will be before we have employees in a studio.
And guests.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine?
Imagine if we had the real Anna here today.
I was just going to say that. Like that Call Her Daddy girl.
Yeah.
She is an entrepreneur, that woman.
She is.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm super excited. I love that you're about all of these real life story shows, and
I feel like they're just really popular right now. So maybe I've just been like getting into them, but I do think it's really interesting. The Tiger King show also looks pretty good.
Have you not seen it?
No, I've seen the documentary, but now there's a show.
Oh, on Peacock.
Yes.
Like the parody show.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. I didn't see it, but I saw like the trailer or whatever.
Yeah.
Because when it came out, I was like, oh, is there another show? And then I was like, this is a parody, or like you know, like they're actors, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I loved Tiger King, the documentary.
Me too. I didn't watch the second one though.
I did.
Was it good?
It was more about, partly about getting Joe out of jail, and then a lot about Dawn and Carol. And that episode, I think maybe it was just one episode entirely.
Dawn's the guy that died, right? Or one that went missing.
The one that they say went missing. But it's really interesting because they, like, track him down or uncover something. I think they prove, basically, that he's still alive or something.
Well, maybe we'll review.
And then I feel bad for Carol, you know?
Do you feel bad for Carol?
Well, I mean, maybe for getting accused of killing her husband, but not for everything else.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for her.
Hey, you know, that's okay too.
But you know what? Maybe I should watch it. Maybe it'll change my mind.
But But yeah, I just love how you're getting into all these shows. I am more of like the fantasy, supernatural type of deal.
I like those too. Did you watch, I think it's called Fate. It's like about these fairies. That was pretty good.
Oh, no, but I think I know what you're talking about. It was on Netflix.
I watched it over Christmas, yeah.
I think I saw the trailer, but I didn't watch it.
It was pretty good. I recommend it.
Okay. We have a whole
this
list.
is us. We would just talk like this at work every single day about shows. So I think that's why this podcast is so perfect, because we just have so much to say about it so much.
And we just watched season 2 of Bridgerton.
That was in sync. I loved that.
Anthony Bridgerton. He was a good character this season.
You love to love him, but you love to hate him sometimes.
Yeah, it was strange. Like, I love this season and his story with Kate, but wasn't there a woman he was in love with in season 1?
Yes.
That, like, poor girl he was ashamed of. And then this season he's like...
I don't know where she went. They didn't really wrap that storyline up. But
he's acting like he's never been in love
I really
before.
thought he was going to end up with her.
Yeah.
In the end.
She was like I think she was in like the sex business or something.
Yeah, she's a prostitute.
Sex worker.
My bad.
We're progressive. Sorry, y'all. Anything, just correct us in the comments or wherever.
Yeah, I'm not politically correct, but I do try. But,
you know. Okay.
Well, I think that wraps up our first episode of Inventing Anna. What do you think?
I think so. We talked about a lot of it. We're going episode by episode. It might not be, the most fast-paced thing, but we kind of wanted to do it like this in case you wanted to watch it with us and talk about it. And if you've already seen all the episodes, you can still listen to it. And I think even if you haven't seen the show at all, it's still a little fun to watch and listen along to us watch it, Yeah.
Like, some of us are working individuals. Some of us are working individuals with kids. Some of us are working individuals with a whole ass college career that we are maintaining. That someone is me.
It is. She's a
not
bad
the kids,
ass.
not the kids, just the college. But it's hard to sit down and watch a show. So you know what? If you just want to skip it and let us watch it for you and review it and tell you whether it's even worth watching, I think that's a great thing for people to have. And based on episode 1, I would say that I think it's going to be a good show. But we can't really say for sure until we finish it. But I do enjoy it so far. Right.
Yeah. And, if shows are any indication, like, like a first kiss or a first date or how things are going to work out, it seems promising. It seems like it's going somewhere, but then, red flags can pop up at any moment. So
it's true. I've watched shows where the first couple episodes are very, very good, and then the rest goes downhill. And then, there's always those shows where everyone's like, you just got to get through the first 5 episodes, and then it's great. And you're like, okay, Susan, I'm trying.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are those shows, too. I think those shows are more common than not, especially with, like, older shows. But, you can't judge a book by its cover, but so far it looks promising. And I think it makes it more interesting for me because I know it's actually based on a true story.
Yeah.
I think if that aspect wasn't there, I'd probably, take it or leave it. But I do think it's very interesting because it's a true story. She's a real girl.
If it wasn't based on a true story, I would be very confused about the accent. I would be...
People are confused about the accent,
It is
though.
thick. Okay. And I think it's thicker than it needs to be. She said she's an Ozark. Is that how she is? Is that how she talks? Okay, so she's trying.
Normal. Yeah, she's mimicking the real Anna. She has a very distinct voice.
She does. And I was like, there's no way this girl sounds like this. But then listening to the real girl, she kind of does, but I think it's still a little overdone.
A little more dramatized in the show. It's a little more European in the show. I think
maybe just to be funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, we'll get into everything, and I'm excited to go on this journey with you.
I'm excited as well. And, even if nobody listens, even if it's just you and me.
We will have this forever.
We will. And we can listen back when we're like 80.
My mom said she's going to listen, so.
Oh, hi, Darla. We've never spoken, but it's nice to meet you. I think your daughter is a wonderful human being, just to let you know that. She is incredible.
That's sweet. She raised me.
So you must have done a fantastic job.
I mean, my dad was there too, so good for him. David.
Hello, David. Oh my God, my dad's name is David too.
Is it really? How have we never discovered this? I think I just blew out everyone's eardrums. My bad.
We never.
discussed.
This is a live discovery. We've never talked about it. Yeah, and it's funny. My mom, she married a David, divorced him, married another David.
Oh wow!
Second David.
My brother's name is David, so. And my grandpa's.
I think it's so funny.
But he went by Dave. So
hopefully your dad, David, isn't my mom's first husband, David. That would be awkward.
I don't think so, considering my parents met in high school and have been together since then, which I think is very sweet.
Twist or sister? Oh wait, no, it couldn't be. But that's so bizarre. We've never talked about that before.
I know. Well, you learn something new every day.
It's true.
And now we all have a memory to commiserate.
All right. I think we're done here for today.
That wraps it up. And this would be the time that our theme song would play when it exists.
But thank you guys so much for listening. We really had so much fun, and I apologize about the sound if it's kind of weird. You know, we're trying to figure stuff out.
We are working out the kinks.
Hopefully it'll get better from here, but we appreciate you for coming along.
We do. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
We will see you in the next one. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye. Oh my gosh, we did it.
Oh, okay.